Today's video is going to be a bit different. It's going to be a little story of how I made my first $200 as a graphic designer. Thanks for the 84 subs. Hopefully we can reach 100 subs by the end of this year. Consider joining my free Discord channel. If you send me cold outreach, I can help you and maybe feature you in a future video. So this takes place when I was in college. I was about in the second year of college or something like that, and I was still doing graphic design through my phone. There, I was running Trademark Engineer as a theme page, posting content every day, content from other people and just tagging them on the posts and raking in engagement and getting views and stuff like that. And inevitably getting inbound clients, but not how you think. Usually the clients would stumble onto my page through Instagram itself, but mostly through word of mouth. I had inbound clients coming in, but at the time I wasn't even making that much money, so it didn't even make that much of a difference. But I always knew that when I had a PC, if I had a PC, I would always be able to mark up my prices and actually charge a whole lot more. Because by then since I was still on my phone, I didn't even know what mockups were. I didn't have those many choices with fonts, and I couldn't do a lot of versatile stuff. And when I reached like 3,000, 4,000 followers on Trademark Engineer, that's when I had a lot more clients coming in at one time. So if it were $40, I would have like 5 clients coming in, and I was doing everything on my phone. So I would be in the middle of class, the teacher giving like lessons and stuff like that, and I'm me receiving like texts from clients like, "Yo, can I send over the payment?" And, "Yo, did you do the work?" Another one like, "Yo, I'm waiting on this. I'm waiting. The deadline is today, right?" Basically, me being in class, I couldn't even focus on class at that point. My whole focus was on finishing that and actually spending the money that I already had. Budgeting wasn't my forte at the time. I actually had a hard time budgeting because I was running ads myself that weren't going anywhere. They didn't convert. They were spending me more money than I would think about. Second, I was maintaining a domain that wasn't actually getting traction and didn't actually make me no difference and was only taking me money every month. And even though I had those expenses, I also had to pay for like internet and to pay for airtime and stuff like that. But overall, since I was a kid and all that, and I had a friend group that was also basically kids, the main focus I had at the time was two things. I mainly wanted to have a new PC. I wanted to have a PC so I could do more work and be able to manage them and charge them more. And second, to buy some beers and not go immediately bankrupt. But as time went on, I really started grinding on Trademark Engineer. And by the time it got to like 5,000, 6,000 followers in a span of like 1 month or 1 month and a half, I really started noticing the difference and the shift on the actual page itself. Why that is? Because more people were following and were engaging with the page. I started noticing that if you have more people visiting your page on a monthly or daily or weekly basis, more odds of you getting an inbound client, because there are more eyes seeing your content, and eventually you'll find a person that will want to work with you. So that's what happened with me. One day, I had to stay late at school because we had gym. And when we have gym, we usually take the latest bus that's like around 6 p.m. home, where I only arrive like 8 p.m. or something like that. I'm starting in and I'm stretching to go into gym and all that. And I see a DM. First off, and I'm like, it might be some guy like asking me to follow back or something like that. Let me just wait. Then I get another DM from the same person. No, like, whoa. But I didn't pay no much mind, and I went to the gym and I killed it like always. It was volleyball that day. Then we actually started going home, and I remember to pick up my phone from my backpack. And when I took it, I was like mesmerized. He was like, "Hey, how much do you charge for a logo?" I was like, "Yo, it's a client. Why didn't I answer sooner?" Since I've learned from experience, I started learning that when I get a client, I shouldn't always just jump to talking about money. The best thing would be to talk first about what they want to know in its totality, what they want, because they might think they want a logo, but it's easy to upsell and sell more than a logo. So that's what I did. I stayed calm and I was like, hey, I hope you're well. So you want a logo, do you? Can you tell me a bit more about your business? And he proceeded to tell me a bunch of his business. I don't remember the details quite exactly because it was so long ago. And I'm so bad at keeping on records of these stuff, but I'll pin it here if I can find it. If I don't pin it, it's because I didn't find it. Next thing I did was started knowing like how long have you been in the market, and do you have workers, do you have a physical place, or is it all digital and stuff like that. And he did have a physical place, and he did have somewhat workers. It was a family business, so the workers were family members and stuff like that. So I started noticing and started doing a mini budget on my head. And that's when it came to the point where he asked again, how much do you charge? So in one last ditch, what I actually do when it comes to this, I actually ask them what's their budget range. And what he said was, I don't really know, man. Like, I'm willing to pay enough for this project, which all of us know that's like a terrible response. Like, you just want to know a number just to center yourself around there. But we all know that it's not it. You still have to guess. So what I did was I actually made three prices. One was about like 90 something like that. The second was about 160 something. And the third was 230 something, you know. And by this time, I had never, ever, ever had a client paying me that much, like 200 like in one go. Not yet. But I had clients that paid me once like 50. Then it came to another work that they wanted to do and paid me like another 70. Then another 20 or 30, but not at once. So I was there, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but when you send like the budget, the budget for your work, you almost get that sense of like shivers, like goosebumps. And 1 minute seems like 1 hour, 2 minutes seems like 2 days. And I was there shivering my timbers and waiting for a response until I see him typing. And this is the process of me going from school to going home. I'm still in the school bus and people screaming around, and like I'm zoned out and focused on my texts because I'm seeing him typing, and 3 minutes, 4 minutes go by and he's still typing, and I'm like, shit, what's happening, bro? And I noticed that I was out of airtime. And when you're out of airtime here, it's like really crazy because you don't have Wi-Fi close. If you don't have airtime, you or internet, you have to buy it, or you have to find someone with Wi-Fi or that can hotspot their phone so you can connect. And yeah, I don't remember the details, but I do remember that I wasn't able to actually get internet at the bus at the time. So what happened was it stuck on typing until I got home at like 9 p.m. or something like that. And eventually, what happens is I'm always thinking on the low side. When you have a new client, you don't know their tendencies. I always thought that they're going to go with the cheapest version, at least because they didn't know me and stuff like that. And I only recently started implementing bundles. So I always had three prices, but since they saw that I had a minimum price of like a below $100, they usually took that because they didn't want to take the risk. And I get home, there's my brothers there, we're eating and stuff like that. And then I remember that, oh, yo, man, like, can you do that? Can you hotspot me for like 5 minutes or something like that? He actually does do the hotspot, and I connect it to it. Then I see that I have two messages, and I'm like anxious because I'm like, whoa, he actually answered. And when I opened the message, he was like, yo, I'll take the full brand identity package. Send me your PayPal link. And I was like, what? And I was like bawling. I instantly sent him my PayPal link, and I waited. I waited an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, anxious as hell. But yeah, he didn't get back to me that day. Ended up getting back to me next day, but it still came through. I saw it, and he actually gave in like some bucks because he saw it was PayPal, and he wanted me to withdraw the 200 in its totality. So he actually ended up sending me like 205 or $210. And yeah, it was something that I saw that, bro, it has potential. So what did I do next after getting that paycheck? The first thing I was thinking about was beers. I won't lie. I was actually thinking about buying some beers. But I actually held to myself, and I remembered that, yo, what if I have a PC, bro? Like, what if I have a PC? If I have a PC, I'm gonna make that bank, bro. So yeah, I went and caught my first PC. And I didn't regret it, you know. I ended up regretting it later down the line because it wasn't as a good a choice of a PC that I had, but it was an important step because then I started using Photoshop, I started using Illustrator, and now I'm able to charge people 450, 500, 600, $700 for graphic design, and they don't even judge me wrong for this. That's why I tell you that the process is in the making. I started on a phone, bro, and people weren't betting an eye twice for me charging like 150, $160. So it's possible. If you're a graphic designer as well, you can start with your phone, bro. Like work yourself up there. You don't need to start with a phone. You can start with a PC. Better if you do, actually. There's a lot of tutorials online. That's how I learned as well. And if you want to actually learn more on how you can actually start graphic designing, I have some videos on graphic design here on my page. So feel free to check them out.